What's up, everybody? Continuing our coverage, TDR Trade to Black in Chicago at the Cannabis Capital Conference for IgniteIt, formerly Benzinga. Now our next guest, we bring in Hirsh Jain from Ananda Strategy, along with cannabis consultant Seth Yakatan. Good to see you, gentlemen. How's the day been so far, Hirsh?
It's been excellent. It's been exciting. The most exciting one in recent memory, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
You feeling that same thing too, Seth?
It's been good. Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley to show up, but other than that, it's been very good. Busy, well attended, a lot of optimism.
Yeah. One thing that you and I talked about before we start filming here today, Hirsh, is that the European international market has been at the forefront. We always talk about growth, and that is going to be a big component for a lot of these companies. Yes, reform is good. Yes, we're getting positive outcomes here in the US, but we need growth. We're getting the stuff out of Virginia, so that's great. We need new markets to go online, but the international market is actually stealing the show right now as far as a focal point. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first IgniteIt in recent memory where I think the international dimension is a big part of the conversation. I can't remember it being such a big part of the conversation in the past. And I think countries want to take advantage of growing global markets, and they're asking themselves a couple of questions. Like, one, do I have the necessary certifications to play in the international market with respect to GMP, right? So that's a really big one. And secondly, they're asking themselves, will growth persist internationally, or could there be regulatory headwinds around telemedicine or other things that impede that growth? So yeah, I think that's one really big, important part of the story.
Hirsh brings up an idea about growth. I've read a couple of things online recently, Seth, and it talks about price compression. And if you bring in US players, it's going to drive prices down even more. But that's not factoring in growth when it comes to the international market. Do you want to elaborate off that?
Sure. I mean, I think, you have to look at adult use in some level, and that has to factor or toggle into your conversation. I think growth is international growth is being baked into the context of 5 of your LPs, because a lot of the revenue that they have is driven from international growth. And obviously you have 2 big companies in Curaleaf and Glasshouse that have publicly stated their strategy to attempt to export. And I think when you have export markets in play as that they are now and they've never been, international is definitely going to be part of the growth story, regardless of what people think about the size of the market.
Yeah. So. Another thing I want to address too is Boris was on this morning. He was talking about consolidation is going to happen and how it's healthy and how there are too many companies in the industry and we need to see some mergers amongst the top 5 companies in the space. Everybody's thinking, we've seen the reverse split with Vireo. We've seen Trulieve uplist. It's only a matter of time for GTI. We've seen the news with Curaleaf, but no news involving Cresco Labs right now. Do you anticipate that we will see a merger between 2 top 5 companies here before the end of the calendar year?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's this little industry called private equity that's based upon putting 2 companies together, sending a third of the workforce home, and making a more profitable company. So we've talked about it publicly. If you look at the footprint of, put it into Claude, because apparently he does all the work now. So if you intersect the top 15 publicly listed companies and put them together and say who doesn't overlap and what do those P&Ls look like, and send a third of your people home, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yeah. BlackRock, Fidelity, they look at companies that have 10, $15 billion market caps. We look at the top US company right now, it's 2.5 with Curaleaf. They won't look at anything under $100 billion when it comes to financing deals. This is the kind of money that we're talking here. And a lot of these institutions right now are more interested in the debt side versus the equity side. That could change in a hurry, but usually it's the complete opposite. But I have to agree with what Boris was saying, that there needs to be some consolidation, Hirsh, because right now, yes, there are too many companies in this industry.
Totally. I mean, I think consolidation is natural and healthy. And I think the most obvious example of this is what happened after alcohol prohibition, right? There were hundreds of alcohol providers, right, at the end of prohibition, but over the course of years, they consolidated into 4. And so it's very natural and healthy. It's exciting to think about the economies of scale that these operators might be able to obtain and the reduced costs through consolidation. And I think that will exist alongside, per what Seth was saying earlier, a resumption in the state level growth story in US cannabis. Over the past 3 years, as we've been waiting for federal changes, the state-led growth story has stalled. But I think we finally have reason to believe that will change. Virginia will come online with adult use sales next year. Minnesota is growing. Ohio is growing. New York is growing. That in conjunction with the hemp changes that is boosting state markets, I think that's the recipe, right? So we have a company uplisted. We could see the state level growth story resume, and then consolidation is a big part.
You know, Hirsh brings up a great point that people are not factoring into their models, which is when the hemp ban takes effect, you're going to have directionally a $20 to $30 billion consumer market that goes away. Now, how much of that gets put back into
10 to 15%?
Well, how about 5% of it gets put back into traditional dispensary channel? I think you're going to see top line stability or growth in states in 26 and 27 for the first time that you've seen since 22 or 23.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are factoring that into their models enough.
I just want to say I totally agree. And just to underscore that, Ohio is probably the best example of a recent state that has imposed a hemp ban. And over the past 2 months, their sales are up almost 10%.
There's no biomass. People can't do
Totally.
biomass.
Totally. And I think you're going to see the same thing in Illinois. Just a couple of days ago, the governor of Illinois signed a law that outlawed like the very prolific intoxicating hemp market here. So I totally agree with Seth. And I think we're starting to see incremental evidence of exactly that.
The wind's
change.
blowing. The wind is blowing.
Woo! So we see these hemp bans happening in more and more states. I think it's only going to be a domino effect and continue to spread across the country, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw it in Ohio. We're seeing it now in Illinois, and we'll see it in Missouri as well. And so, I mean, to state the obvious, there's so much demand for THC in that country, but that demand has been siphoned to unregulated channels. If that gets, siphoned back into regulated channels, this gets really exciting again.
Yeah, I agree. Big thing too is that we need more investors. When you look at other industries, other companies that are successful, 75% of their cap structure is owned by institutions. And right now, when it comes to cannabis, I think it's around 20. So that's why these stocks are heavy manipulated. What do you think is going to be in the agenda, Seth, for these CEOs for these next 6 months getting their message out there?
I think you're going to see a storm of cockroaches in the form of bulge bracket investment banks walking into the space and pushing little guys out of the way to start to cover some of these names. Because once you start to get an NYSE listed cohort of $10 billion of market cap, that's when it starts to become attractive. And Boris is right. Boris isn't just building for growth. Boris is building for the institutional investor that he wants to go get. And that's probably a $5 billion market cap threshold.
And he's made it clear too that a lot of the companies like the BlackRocks, and Fidelities were investors in his IPO. He wants them to invest in the company before uplisting.
But look at the pieces that are coming together. Trulieve, Curaleaf, Vireo is now $1 billion market cap. Little company in California called Glasshouse, $1 billion market cap. The pieces are starting, the tectonic plates are starting to come together. And it's going to happen.
Thoughts on their latest acquisition regarding C21?
You know what? Literally, it happened 15 minutes ago. So I haven't had a chance to.
All right, fair enough.
I haven't put it into Claude yet, so I can't give you an opinion.
All right. Fair enough.
mean, I would say by some metrics, C21, maybe along with GTI, has been one of the most impressive financial operators, just like printing results, quarter after quarter. I think many of us know Sammy, at C21. So incredibly impressive operator. And I think they're finally getting recognized for the great stewards of capital that,
Oh, there he is. There he is.
All right, what do we say?
Oh, is he live?
No, I trust her.
He's coming on. He's coming
I love
on.
him.
Give us some feedback, my friend, on today's announcement.
I'm stoked. I'm really excited.
Are you?
The read-through on everything going on in the space right now, we've talked about this every time I've been on your show, right? Like, the market doesn't necessarily digest where the sector is in any given moment. Right now, we're in a hyper-consolidation stage, right? And the idea that anybody that is going to be acquired is going to get some sort of insane premium. This isn't a lottery environment right now.
Yeah.
This is about finding a partner that has scale and that has a path, right? A path to capital, access to capital. Uplisting obviously is going to be a big deal, and institutional investment coming. So, we did a lot of work, a lot of diligence on who the best partner was for us. Obviously, we had options because we're one of the healthiest companies in the industry, and we believe that Vireo is the best option for us. So we're really excited. I'm going to do. Thank you. I'm going to do a lot of work explaining, what the math actually means, and why we're excited and why our shareholders should be excited moving forward.
We'll talk more in depth on that, I think later this week as far as the live stream. But for any investors out there, whether they're positive or indifferent, what's your message to them?
The message is we joined one of the largest operators in the industry, who is the consolidator of the space right now, has proven M&A success with proper, wholesome, deep roots in every deal they've done so far. Look into the margins, the strength of the margins in these mature markets that these guys are operating in. We fit geographically beautifully into what they have in Nevada. We are the market leader in the north. They didn't have that northern presence. So we think there's a ton of synergy in what we bring to the Nevada market for them. We're now the largest player in Nevada combined, 15 stores, over 20% market share. But this is the beginning of the story. This isn't the end of the line. This is just the start.
I've seen this. I've seen this a lot in the last couple of weeks, just with the reverse splits. It's just like we're trying to convey to a lot of retail investors that absolutely you got to look at the big picture right now. Like, yes, there are things being announced, but you got to this is what's happening. This is the conversations that are taking place. Like the BlackRocks and Fidelities, they are coming. And I know you get caught up in news that doesn't make sense today, but this is going to move quick. And everything we're hearing from Michael Bronstein to even some of the lawmakers and attorneys that are here, they're all saying we're probably going to have a favorable outcome when it comes to this whole rescheduling announcement. Once that clarity comes in, these things are going to move faster.
Totally. I mean, I just want to say two things. One, C21 printed those numbers in a Nevada market that was down 10% year over year. It's one of the more impressive things I've seen in cannabis. And yes, I'm also incredibly optimistic about the adult use hearing. I know the rug's been pulled so many times, but I think we have good reason to believe that before the midterm elections, we could be in a different place. And that's really exciting.
It's been pulled before, but we have rescheduling announced on a federal level, right? That has not been announced. We have a company listing on the New York Stock Exchange. There is actual information that's already been implemented that we are in different times. So I'm sure what's the big takeaway from you here today, Seth?
Buy now.
Buy now?
Buy now.
Buy now.
That's the takeaway.
I think the market wants clarity, right? And the clarity's coming. We just have to be patient.
Yeah.
And it's hard for a lot of, retail investors to be patient when the sector's played out the way it has. But this is not the end of the road, both for C21, at all. This is the beginning. But for the sector, I think we've got, great catalysts coming. And you got to pick the good horses, the horses that are structured, that have the balance sheets to survive, that are going to be able to be uplisted. A lot of to your point about the reverses, right? Yeah. This is just perfunctory. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. And people get all bent out of shape. And then if the stocks are down 3 to 5% when any of this news happens, everybody thinks the market is trying to express something to us.
That's what history's shown.
There is no market to express anything.
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
It's all about education. And I think what investors need to understand is they don't maybe fully understand as to what's coming next and how these institutions who are patient will view this from an investment opportunity. But you get a favorable outcome with rescheduling. You think about the capital that's going to be raised, you think the cost of capital and how that's going to be down, and all these doors that open up. And it is the beginning of a new era within this industry, right?
The doors are going to look for scale.
Yes.
And, we're C21 is going to where the puck is going, right? We're skating to where the puck is going. When the institutional investment comes, it's going for the scale operators. And, we were fortunate enough to generate the cash flow that we've generated, long term, that we became a very desirable company. Yep. Not everybody's in the same scenario, but, I would say to all the operators in the space, if you're not going to be one of the leaders at scale, then it's probably the right time.
Fair enough. I shall see you on the West Coast later this week. We'll have more of that conversation.
Happy to.
That'll be a very interesting day. Hirsh, always good seeing you as well. What's on the agenda tonight, gentlemen?
Sleep.
Got a busy week ahead of us. All right, this is what we do at TDR. We talk about things, and if there's deals happening, we bring them on live. Happens all the time, right? Right? All right, everybody, thanks for checking in our latest TDR Traded Black podcast. More content coming here from Chicago all this week. And as well, I'll see Seth and all whole crew from Glasshouse on their investor day later this week too. So again, leave your comments below. Keep this conversation going. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.
Hey everyone, thanks again for watching here today. Listen, if you're getting value from us here at TDR, make sure to check us out at TDR Plus. It's our exclusive membership community. Why? Well, you'll see CEO interviews that go beyond business, showing a personal side that you won't find anywhere else, including the biggest names in the industry. Plus, you'll get insights from analysts and day traders on where the industry's headed, both short-term and long-term, and a direct chat group with our team. It's only $7 a month, just 25 cents a day, and it helps support everything we do here at TDR. If you want to join, just click the join button below and become a TDR Plus member today. And once again, a big thank you for being part of our community. So that's it for today. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.